Welcome to Truth Be Told, the podcast about how to be genuine and authentic so you can live your truth. I am truly excited about the guest that I have today. Do you feel your potential is not fully realized and that you are getting older but no closer to your dreams? Do you have goals on your list that have been there for years? Do your goals seem more like dreams, no, hopes, and wishes instead of hard targets with a high hope, no, high expectations of achievement? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then our guest can help you. Patrick Juma Owino is a success coach with more than 2 decades working with people like you to achieve success, however you define it: wealth, power, happiness, or just the peace of mind that comes from knowing no, you have done your very best uh, each day. In today's podcast, he will be championing how to live your truth. You will learn how to find your truth. You will discover your authentic you, and you will be satisfied that now your life has meaning. Patrick, welcome to Truth Be Told.
Thank you so much, Pierre.
Yeah,
I'm excited to be here.
yeah. So tell us, like of the things that just a little bit of your background and like the life lessons that have taught you how to be genuine and authentic.
Thank you so much, Pierre. I came to Canada almost 10 years ago. We landed here on 5th of March 2013 as immigrants, as permanent residents. And when we landed here as permanent residents, we had no one to welcome us. We didn't know where we were going, but we had this sense of adventure. And we were excited just to be in Canada. And from that experience of landing here, starting with nothing, not knowing anyone, but just being ourselves and trusting in ourselves, has empowered us, has enabled me to live my values, which I would call my truth. And this has made my life meaningful and my family's life meaningful. And we are really enjoying our lives.
You mentioned the adventure already when you landed in Canada. It did, and as well as like values. Well, how did you the, define the values that came into your life?
One thing, when I look at values or a value is something that is important to us. A value is something that is important to me. And for me, I look at value as something that I live for and something that I will die for. And my mantra always is that life is for living. So I identified what's most important for me in this finite life that God has given to me, because it's a gift, it's finite, and I can't be everywhere at the same time and do everything. Therefore, I have to define and decide what's most precious. And once I have defined what's most precious in terms of priorities, then I leave those ones. And by leaving them, that's the best use of my time, my values, and my truth.
You ever find yourself facing this these situations where oh, people will tell you, oh, it's just like, oh, this is your idea. It's like, oh, I don't know. It's no, like, you kind of have to stay within that box, and it doesn't feel like it's you, right? Like you need to be it rather than be. It just feels like it's kind of boxing you, right?
Correct. Yes. Uh, it is true. We are social beings. We live in a society, and sometimes there are norms that are within the society that, yes, we can do this, we cannot do this, and we can allow you to do this.
Mm-hmm.
For example, you find that sometimes, even let's like in this setting, we cannot hold these podcasts without wearing clothes. So
We
that's a
can do
social
it,
norm
but
that is there. It's arbitrary, but it's fitting for this situation. There are things that we can get away with, and there are things also that we can do. For example, what we are doing right now.
yeah.
Yes, we just have to be aware and catch ourselves when we are being boxed into a place whereby we have not thought about it critically and does not suit us. And if we find ourselves being boxed there, we have to be able to be aware, step out of it, and find out, is it reasonable? Is it logical? If yes, conform with it. If not, you can move out and form your own ideas and your own values, things that you find are important. Because if you continue operating from ideas that have been passed on by you, by other people, or maybe values and truths that you have come up with based on your intellect,
Mm-hmm.
eventually you will find yourself stressed out or burnt out or depressed. But when you come up with values that are now authentic to you, things that are important to you, things that you find are meaningful to you, then you start living your life better.
Yeah.
Yes, we are living in a society. We cannot completely live without norms or influences for other people, but it is very important for us to find out what are our true values, what is important to us, what gives us meaning.
Mm.
Because once you find out what is truly meaningful to you, then you have found out the target. That's the authentic you.
Mm.
And you now start living life.
Yeah.
Now,
Speaking of, like what was meaningful, like what do you think has been some of the most meaningful purposes or calling for you?
number one of my values is freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom to think on my own, freedom of association, and all the freedoms that are in our Charter of Rights. Those are very important to me because those freedoms allow me to live life fully.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my number one value or truth. Another value or something that is meaningful to me is my health, because this is the only body that I can live in while I'm in this dimension or in this life. Therefore, health is a very important value for me, a very important truth for me. Therefore, I'm watchful about what I eat, how I exercise, how I sleep, and everything that ensures that I am fit and healthy. Because when you are fit and healthy, it influences the way you think, what you do, how you feel. These are values that I have discovered for myself, not values put by the society or by someone telling me what to do. And they have come out from experiences that I've gone through. For example, couple of years ago, about 6 years ago, yeah, six
Yeah.
years ago, my dad passed on.
I'm
And
so sorry for your loss. My
I
condolences.
was able to see how a human being can want to live, but the body fails them.
Mm.
And normally we tend to only think about health when it's now almost too late or it becomes a problem. Since that experience, I decided to make health one of my values. Do something about it. Take preventive actions than trying to cure it or to solve it at that time. Therefore, to find anything meaningful in your life, look into your heart, not your head. Look at something that has meaning to you. Make it into your value and then live it. And there are very many values that each person can look into that have meaning for them. And once you find those values, live those values every day. And that's how you're also living your own truths. The values could be freedom, health, could be career growth, could be speaking, could be teaching. Another value could be, for example, adventure. Another value could be even beauty, comfort. So there are very many values, and values are things that are valuable to you. What give life meaning to you? Once you have come up with values that are important to you, then now live them every day.
I'm sure you must have had moments where you must have had this one moment where you've decided to have that moment in life where you took a different path from everyone else and you decided, I'm going to stray away from the pack and I'm going to, this is where I'm going to really go my own way and not be like everyone else.
It's very true. It is true. And we always have to remember that each one of us is unique. Each one of us has different desires. There's somebody maybe who has a calling to serve others, maybe by building a well somewhere in a remote place, somewhere in the globe.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that is valuable to them. And you'll find them taking this path because when they take this path and they see water running out of this village somewhere in any corner of the world, it gives them this sense of fulfillment. And they'll do their absolute best to make sure that this program runs. Another person might be drawn maybe by planting trees, and you find them just planting trees because this is what gives meaning to them. So each person is unique, and this is why I always encourage each person to come up with their own ideals. What is their ideal standard? How do they want their life to unfold? And then follow that path.
Mm-hmm.
I have used this several times. I've asked myself, what would make me happy? I have chosen the path of, for example, being an entrepreneur, because I find that being an entrepreneur, I'm able to create jobs for other people. And by creating jobs for other people, I'm able to influence other people's lives. And by seeing everybody become the best version of themselves, this is fulfilling to me. And I always do my absolute best to ensure that this goal, this vision is achieved. And because my values are very clear about this, I'm able to have a very clear imagination, vision of where I want my companies to go. And then I'm able to put myself in the right role to be able to drive that vision ahead and achieve my values and also be in the right place at the right time, performing the right role. Therefore, identify, find out what is valuable to you because you are unique. What appeals to you? Once you have found this, this then is your authentic self. And because you're doing what truly appeals to you, what is meaningful to you, you are excited every day, you find satisfaction every day, and you're doing your absolute best to achieve your goal and be yourself.
Yeah. Well, knowing how you are an entrepreneur and knowing that you are also part of an active member of Toastmasters, your words of wisdom show that you are also a mentor. You like to always bring out the best and share your knowledge with others. And that does that also tie into being being the most fulfilling part of your day, like you said earlier?
Correct. Another value that I have and I cherish is being able to teach, being able to inspire other people to understand best what their own values are. And once they discover these values, be able to live them. And by being able to live their values, they achieve excellence, they achieve success, because now they are driven from within. These are their values, these are their truths. So they are driven from within. They have clarity of how they want their life to unfold. And because they have clarity of how they want their life to unfold, they can draw this picture very clearly. Yeah. And they can also now come up with a role within this vision that allows them to achieve or enables them to achieve this vision, which is their highest potential. And by seeing somebody realizing their potentials fully is very fulfilling to me, because we have talents, we have potentials that we cannot imagine their scope. Another study shows that even the brightest human being who has ever lived, examples of Einstein, they only used, if you put our brains to be all these 10 fingers, he only used like this pinky finger only. With all the accolades that he got, he was only using the brain in terms of the space or in terms of the capacity, just the size of this pinky finger. So we have so much potential. It's about tapping into them and being able to realize them. And by doing that, we live fulfilled lives full of reward, whether it's in terms of finances, in terms of good health, in terms of happiness. And life has meaning.
And eventually, being entrepreneur, being an active part of Toastmaster led to a new part of your life, and that's being a successful success coach. Yes. And tell us how that how you became a success coach.
As I was growing in my business, I started realizing that there were people who were in my team or people also in my circles who had this yearning to become better, but didn't know how to become better. And I challenged myself, why not join a Toastmasters club, learn how to be able to express myself, communicate, promote bonding, and then transfer this knowledge, help them also discover what are their potentials, and then guide them, hold their hands to become the best versions of themselves. So there is a very strong connection between being able to communicate well and being able to instruct and guide other people to realize their potentials through coaching, and also challenging them to get out of their comfort zones. Mm. And as they do this, they grow. And as we all grow, we all benefit. Because I believe in this mantra that the rising tide lifts all boats.
Do you think there can be a fear of a success or a fear of being genuine?
Fear is always within us. Yes. We always have fear, especially if you're starting something new. Mm. Why? Because you don't know what is coming ahead. You don't know what will happen tomorrow. Mm. And this fear it's normal.
Yeah.
What you need to do is, if you have fear, understand where that fear is coming from. Is it a genuine fear that is meant to protect you? Or is it a fear because maybe you lack the competencies or the skills to perform well? So if you lack the skills to perform well, to alleviate that fear is to upgrade your skills. Mm-hmm. And as you upgrade your skills, that fear goes down. And at that time, again, you might have maybe to increase the challenge. Mm-hmm. And as you increase the challenge, there'll be fear again, but again, increase your competency. And as you do this, you are growing and you are becoming better. It is normal to have fear at the start. Your brain will falter. You will make clumsy movements physically, but with practice, you become better. By starting on this journey of trying to accomplish something, you are joining or you are getting into a path of mastery. Now, mastery does not come before you start. Mastery comes after you have started. Mm-hmm. So get on the path, practice diligently, and as you practice diligently, you become better. Yeah. And that's again an opportunity to set higher challenges, and you keep on growing. Yeah. So embrace fear. Fear should stimulate you to take action. Fear should not paralyze you. Also, understand that what you're doing is important to you. Mm-hmm. And once you understand that it's important to you, other people's opinions are their opinions, and you can't do anything about it.
That's right.
And sometimes their opinions might not even be rational. Yeah. So as long as you have done your homework, you know who's your target audience, and you are coming up with a new business or a new idea, pursue it. When you fail, it's okay to fail, because by failing, you are able to learn from that experience and come back again much more intelligently. So failing is okay. All developments in the world, all the progress that we've made, there has been a failure before what you're seeing as the final product. Yeah. You look in history, almost all scientists, even the Wright brothers, before their plane flew, they fell.
Yeah.
They made mistakes. So embrace making mistakes, and use those mistakes, because you'll make mistakes in life. You will make mistakes in life. Use those mistakes as stepping stones. People's opinions, people's judgment should not paralyze you. It should actually empower you to keep on pushing as long as you believe in it. And you are authentic, because what you are doing has meaning for you. Mm-hmm. And if it has meaning for you, you are an individual who's unique. It might not make meaning to somebody else, and it's okay, because they are also unique. I would encourage you and the listeners to have the intellectual courage and the intellectual autonomy to think for themselves, and then be confident once they have thought for themselves to express their values, even if they're the only people who are supporting that value that they have thought through. We have an example of Galileo Galilei. He was almost killed because
Yeah.
he said that the world was round, yet everybody believed the world was flat.
Mm-hmm.
But he stuck. He was confident in his reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
So people may have opinions, as long as you have thought it through and you have looked at it broadly, it makes sense, it is relevant, it is significant, it is clear, keep going.
Like Shakespeare said in Hamlet, to thine own self be true.
Yeah.
Like
The key thing is always to come up with a set, find your own set of values. Those things that are important to you, whether it's speaking to other people, inspiring them, whether it's finding a cure for a disease, whether it is teaching young kids, whether it is building houses, find what has value for you.
Yeah.
Once you have found that, that's the target. That's your authentic you. And you'll be motivated every day to wake up because you have seen this vision, you have identified a role for yourself. And by doing this, life is more fulfilling and rewarding.
Absolutely. Like if anything, you need to, yeah, your life has to have a purpose. Otherwise, it, not just any purpose, like just a purpose where you can wake up every day and you feel like, yeah, I did that. This is my cause. This is what I am passionate about. Like, this is something that I really care about. Otherwise, you're just going through a monotone life. Like, just do something that you care about. Do you, like, do what makes you happy. Do what you love and love what you do.
Correct, correct. Because once you are clear about what's most important to you, once you are clear about that, you then have momentum to live life fully. Being bored, being burnt out, being stressed out is a result of not doing something that you value.
Mm-hmm.
Once you find something that you really value, then you have the momentum. You're always excited to do your very best to realize that goal. The key to being your authentic you, the key to having this purpose in life is understanding what's most important to you.
And
what are the outcomes that you want in life?
Yeah.
Because it is your life and it's a finite life. There's a day you came into this world, there's a day you'll exist. What are you doing in between here? And the best suggestion is do the things that are most important, because once today is gone, it's gone forever. Make sure that in the evening, before you fall asleep, you can look back and say that I did my best. I made the most of every precious minute that I was given today.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And just going back to keeping the momentum of having the purpose in life. I do have some critical questions. 3 critical questions for you. The first one is, what does living your truth mean to you?
Living my truth is living my values, living what's most important to me, being able to spend my precious minutes, precious seconds that I have on things that are most important to me. That to me is living my truth, is living my life. Because once I'm gone, I'm gone. If I don't live them, who will?
How does living your truth and being authentic makes you a better person?
By living my truth, I'm living my life and I'm becoming better every single day. Because once I have identified what is my truth, what is my values, I then turn them into goals based on the vision that I have of how I want my life to unfold. As I move towards those goals, as I achieve those goals, I am growing. I am adding value. I'm becoming a better person. And I'm adding value to the world. For example, if my goal is to teach, and I set a goal of maybe teaching 10 people, and I'm able to teach those 10 people, I am confident and I'm satisfied that I have inspired those people to become better than they were before they met me.
Right.
So by living your values, you not only add value to yourself, but you make the world better, your community better, and you make life worth living for everyone.
Last question. What advice would you give to someone trying to find a way to be authentic so they can live their truth?
One, find your own set of values. Find out what is important to you, not what others tell you or not what your intellect tells you. Once you have found your values, once you have found what's important to you, this will lead you to start imagining the vision of what you want out of that life, out of those ideals. And by visualizing these ideals or these values that you want to see in your life, you will even have clear roles that you need to play to make that vision become a reality. And once you're doing this, you'll find that you are true to yourself. For example, if my vision, if my value is health, and my value, one of my values is health, I'll have a clear picture of how I want to look or to be as a healthy and fit person. With that vision, I will then be able to clearly identify what role I need to play to make that vision come true. And as I do that, my choices, the actions I take, are authentic on me, based on my values. They're not imposed by somebody else. I will choose the food that I eat based on my values, not because what the peer or the commercials are selling to me. I'll make my own authentic decisions. If I'm choosing an exercise activity, the exercise activity I'm choosing is not because someone told me to try this sport or this sport, but I'm choosing a sport or an activity that will help me achieve that vision. And it's something that I enjoy doing. Someone might say, why don't you try tennis? But that is somebody else's idea of a sports activity, which I might not enjoy and therefore will not be sustainable. But if I choose something maybe like running, which is something that I like and will help me achieve that goal, I'll be expressing my true self and living my true values. And I'll perform way better as a runner, as an athlete, as a marathoner, than as a tennis player.
Patrick Juma is a success coach and And where can we follow you to get in touch with you?
Yes, you can go to my website, patrickjuma.com, and you'll find me there, or my Facebook, uh, business performance. I'll put a link there and they can click and follow me and get all these tips to help them become successful, whichever way they define success, whether it's in wealth, happiness, power, or just the peace of mind that you had a great day.
Thank you so much for being here, Patrick. Viewers and listeners, I hope that you've enjoyed our conversation. I've certainly learned a lot from Patrick, and I hope that you have learned too. This is Pierre Kasongo. Thank you for listening, and remember, stay true.